You're just one little step about disgusting
Hey,
when
that's
it
where I
comes to
love
your
to
coffee
live, man.
practices.
At least I'm one step above. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah, there's always the opportunity to go a level down.
They they
So
they say a cut above. A cut above what? Above
yeah.
disgusting? Who cares? It's still a cut above.
Welcome to the What's Your Baseline podcast, where we demystify enterprise architecture and business process management.
We're here to bring best practices and lessons learned from our years to your ears, as well as interviewing friends we met along the way on our professional journeys.
My name is Roland Volt, and I'm joined today by my co-host, James Erlinson.
Hey JM, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Roland. My goodness. We are full on summer in Toronto and it is beautiful. It's a little bit hot, but it is beautiful. And oh my goodness. I love taking long walks. People have heard this about me before, but right now is just the perfect time to go out for a bit of a hot, but a very beautiful long walk. How are things with you, my friend?
Well, I don't walk. I'm sitting in, and hopefully you don't see it on the video, in a big pile of cardboard boxes because we're packing up the house. So anyone who wants to see my little posters on the wall, this is the last video. You're gonna see them for a long time.
Aw.
So yeah,
Ugh,
I'm not.
Roland, where the moving challenges, I understand, I understand. It's crazy. You've had to switch mics, you've had to switch cameras for this. Hopefully the next episode we record, you'll be in the Airstream on the road. My goodness, we're gonna have taking what's your baseline from wherever we are to wherever you are. How's that?
If I knew where I was, yes,
That's a different problem. But
that is true.
But for today, we have a problem to solve with friends. And I'm really excited. We've got a good friend of ours, a friend of the show, friend of the whole methodology. Today, we are introducing everyone Vassiliki. Vassiliki, welcome to What's Your Baseline? How's it going?
Hello, it's my pleasure and my honor to be announced as a friend and also a host here. I'm glad that we have this chance to chat a bit around our interests and the current trends and whatever might be relevant to your audience. So it's a pleasure, and I hope that we can exchange something that is interesting for our audience as well.
And we're super happy to have you on the show, Vassiliki. But before we get started, obviously JM and I know you a tiny little bit because we're hanging out in the same circles, I guess, for years now. I think there's one or two people in the audience who don't know you. So I would love to ask a little bit about you, like what have you done in the past, and what were your experience, and why are you here? You know, all those wonderful things that come up. So maybe you start a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Okay, so I'm an intellectually curious human, rather dynamic, deeply empathetic as well, but on the same time, I'm craving for structure and order in my personal and work life. So it is just like having this continuous uh, project of managing to get this balance in my life by not sacrificing, my personal life versus the work life that is really demanding and always asks for more effort, new ways of thinking, and you have to improvise a lot. So this is an endless journey for me. Uh, I started having a very um, surprising shift in my choices. I was rather inclined to have the philological studies, but I decided that this is not of great importance, or it does not sound adventurous. So I switched into mathematics and technology, and I studied business informatics. I like to be a scientist, and I had the chance of studying in an economic university, which gave me the option to have a career path around operational excellence and enterprise architecture. These are my topics, my specialties, let's say. And I'm really challenged about how to transform organizations by applying rigorous methods coming and practices coming from business management, along with the tools that are in place for these changes to happen, and also some improvisation in order to adapt the change plan for each case you have to solve. So I'm having this quite rich and diverse experience that is also very constructive, according to my opinion, because it has kept my curiosity alive and also allowed me to develop quite extensive expertise in VPN, Lean Six Sigma, enterprise architecture, practices, methodologies, and of course tools. Um, my main specialty and let's say my favorite thing is to solve operational challenges. And this is why I have led and also participated in numerous projects in multiple sectors in our country and abroad. And this gave me the great opportunity to work with different teams, different subjects, and of course tools. And this is how I built my experience. So along with a long partnership that we were having with Aris project, that was another challenge for me because I had in parallel to develop the product management role and work for it in a acceptable way. That was really challenging because Aris, as you know, it is very well positioned in the market for so many years. And that exposed me to many different technologies and changes that happen in this sector, which is something that was another dimension in my journey that made it even more amusing and interesting for me.
We want to hear also a little bit about what shaped you as a person. You sound like you have a focus on work-life balance, which is I think a really commendable focus. There's a lot of pull these days to sacrifice the third space, and I can appreciate that very much. What do you do when you're not working? What's your passion? What's your time off hobbies and things that make you happy?
As I said, I'm curious, endlessly curious. So I'm having several hobbies. I really do appreciate creative time in the nature. That's one thing that really relaxes me, help me to debuffer and get some fresh ideas. I also like well structured hobbies like dancing, ballet, or even Pilates nowadays. You know, as you grow up, you have to adjust all these hobbies. And I really try to spend a lot of time with my friends, my family, along with keeping a purposeful work environment. So it's a constant, trial and error procedure. But I think I've managed because I have this good luck of living in Greece where we are all extroverts and the projects that we have require a lot of improvisation. So more or less, this is how I'm blending things up to manage to cope with all this.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm obviously a little bit jealous that you live in one of the most beautiful countries in the world. You know, I'm seeing blue sea, white houses, blue sky, and all that wonderful stuff. You know, and not brown cardboard boxes. But that's a side topic. Anyway, let's get to the topic of the show because we were thinking about, okay, what do we want to talk about, right? And the biggest challenge that I see is people need to not only figure out where they want to go, but they also need to figure out how they do things and how they manage things and how they measure things. And for a little bit more mature organizations, you hear the term integrated management systems, and then nobody wants to ask the question because they don't want to sound dumb. What is that? And we thought it's a good idea. You having the experience in that field for decades now, um, to answer the question, Vassiliki, what is an integrated management system?
So It is a blend of technology and practices that is coming all together to facilitate the transformation and strategic objectives of any type of organization. It is not a simple it is not a simple project. It requires a lot of rigor and a lot of free improvisation and um, inspiration how to make it work for the exact organization you're working with. But it is well supported out of business management practices and science in general, which offers a lot of tools, methods, and practices that are relevant for solving the operational problem that, or the operational challenge, let's put it this way, that every company faces through the years. And it is also a blend of human related uh, science and also system thinking, because we have the technology that is playing a crucial role as well. So you have actually this option of treating holistically an organization and setting up this system in the term not of a technology, but rather as a organization that is composed out of different components that have these interrelationships of them, and their synergy makes the quality of your outcome. So you have actually to look at your organization in a different way and set up a number of practices and tools, of course, to make it work in a fully orchestrated way by utilizing all the assets you have in terms of information, people, tools, and other regulations and internal regulations that you have and frameworks that are going to help you achieve the ultimate goal to perform and adapt in the manner that the management and the everyday employee uh, will best perform.
I understand, but for most people who are thinking about this, they think of an integrated management system as like a single tool, a single sort of technology. What you're saying is that it's much larger than that. Like there are all the ecosystem around a platform. There are ways of working. There are organizational structures. There is a set of documentation, but its relationship, its context matters. And I feel like that for a lot of folks when they think about, integrated management systems as like a single purchase, it's like, oh yeah, let's buy one of those. Like you can't really like just buy one of those. You have to build one of those into your organization. Tell me how this was developed. Like how did the integration management system concept come about, and what principles is it based on to sort of get you to delivering capabilities to the organization?
Actually, you chose a very good word, ecosystem. It's like an ecosystem. This is more appropriate probably because it is a set of cohesive it's a cohesive set of different components like frameworks, policies, and practices of the organization, facilitated by tools, software, in the most cases. And it is also asking for creative thinking about how to exploit all these information assets that exist in the organization. You know that management always tries to make the most out of these treasure they have, the resources they employ, the products they devise, the customer base they are interacting. So we have this context that actually is asking for synthesizing all these different powers and all these different dimensions into a cohesive way of organizing your work. So we're talking about the way of working in order to achieve your strategic objectives or adapt to the market changes, the regulations that actually rule your world, and so on. So I think the evolution of integrated systems management was something that happened out of the nature of the organizations that are living creatures as well. So they had to exploit their forces and utilize them for different use cases. That's the idea. Getting this system in place is all about offering all these assets in easy to consume way so that you can exploit all this information and give access to it, personalized access for every single employee in the company, uh, in order at the end of the day to manage to get to the targets that are relevant at its era. So it's not like having the one and only target of minimizing costs. Is like adapting constantly in multiple changes that happen nowadays. This is the phenomenon. We have a lot of changes happening. So it is rather challenging how to respond in an adaptive and quick way rather than being passive, letting the changes happen and react sometime later.
Yeah, so what I hear is, and I hope I don't screw up here, but what I'm hearing is a couple of, I don't know, bullets. One is, um, it's a process, if you will. You go through certain things, like figuring out your strategy, looking at what you have, your organization, your processes, your people, all that, your apps, whatever, right? But the second point is you look at this from a like systems theory perspective, so you have a more holistic look at this, right? And not only in what do those hairless monkeys do in the organization, but also holistic in where do we want to go as an organization? How do we measure our success? And how do we get to achieving those results? Is that a fair summary?
Yes, you're absolutely right. If you don't see it in this holistic way, you will lose even the the big picture. It is not only a matter of building a knowledge base; it's actually of utilizing this knowledge base to get a better understanding of how all these different components interact, in which context you want them to outperform, and make uh, plans for change that are going to work by trying to simulate these change plans. And once you get them in place, you should even set up a number of feedback loops so that you can adapt them in new changes that are going to happen sooner or later.
So you know that I live in America, and I think one of the qualities that we have here is that we don't have patience, right? So and I leave it like that. So talk to me a little bit about the benefits of having such a perceived slow approach or systematic approach to managing your organization, because I'm just wondering, well, what does that bring to me for the next quarterly numbers? So what are the benefits of having that more holistic approach to managing your organization?
It's good that we are Europeans and we have all these sciences and we are studying them like we love them. And the main reason of combining business management practices with systems thinking and the art of being more human, looking at your organization from an organizational perspective and how all your people should be somehow motivated to work for a new cause is actually the recipe. It is not a matter of technology. It is not a matter of applying the best operational research methods or the best statistical analysis on your profits and your time recordings and so on. It also requires a lot of uh, improvisation. I would say this word many times. I'm already repeating it for numerous. But you have to understand with method and rigor and also an open mind what is going to be the effect of anything you plan. And not only in numbers, you have to make sure that your people are getting trained, to perform it, and they have all the assets they need to
Mhm.
go out there and give the result you have planned.
And you talk a little bit about like all the resources they need to be able to be successful. And you mentioned improvisation a lot. So tell me about the kinds of people who get involved in the development, the cultivation, the sustainment, the scaling of an integrated management system. Because it seems like there are skills that you wouldn't necessarily associate directly with business management. There are other sorts of skills that help to make this successful. Tell me a little bit about the people you work with.
So you have to have the top management involved in order to give you the commitment to make this happen. I mean, to invest in building this integrated management system. It is also involving a team that is responsible for orchestrating this effort. And you also need the enterprise architects. Enterprise architecture might sound like, you are paying the insurance, and once you have a problem, you are very easy to cut it off. But enterprise architecture is one of the most fundamental themes and practice you need in order to get such a system in place and also make it workable. You also need to open up collaboration channels with your employees and try to personalize the artifacts you are going to offer them, because you have to reach out to their motive and get them energized. And what is more, these enterprise architects should be trained not only to make plans, but they should also be trained to assure they see the value out of these change plans, so that the top management will keep supporting this effort, will keep um, asking the rest of the organization to participate. And this is more or less a human interaction that needs to be well developed and articulated to make it happen. The tool is coming like number 65 priority. Technologies are there. They're gonna give us more improvisation. They're gonna give us more accuracy. They're gonna give us different formats to articulate our artifacts. So technology is factor number 65. It's mostly the human side that needs to get committed, involved, and also keep going the loop, because the loop is gonna give us some results and we need to adapt. If we break this circle, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna bring the benefits we're anticipating.
Which is a topic that obviously is on the mind of everybody these days, AI and get the humans out of it, which is a complete different topic that we don't want to talk about right now. But I also want to be a little bit of the timekeeper, and we're approaching the halfway point of our episode. But I do have a question, maybe in 2 minutes. Um, can you summarize what you see as an integrated management system and why it's so relevant today before we head into the break?
Actually, it is very relevant because AI is prevailing, and the paradox for the adoption and the impact that it has is really kind of the talk of the town nowadays. So we have to cater for this AI invention in our systems, in our ecosystems, and to make it a successful one. We have to reap the benefit of AI, which is actually the true value is about not making our processes faster or cheaper. It is all about rethinking the way we are processing, we're doing our work, the processes, I mean, and imagine a new state of them, a new structure for them. We have to innovate thanks to the power that AI can give us. And then these AI agents, they bring new risks into our ecosystem. So we have to prepare for them, to build our frameworks, to set up a number of tools, to prepare data for them. We also need to be well prepared for giving them qualitative and responsive data. responsible data so that they can make the best decision for which workflow these agents they need to initiate, how they need to treat all this data, and also build some guardrails in order to get them back in order and not end up with unexpected behaviors. AI can be our co-worker. That's another approach, but we have to train them. And in order to train them, we should be able to provide them with all the documentation and input for the current way of working and how they should work. So we have to define the change for getting them as one of our employees. So many aspects we have to take care of, which actually makes the argument that this integrated management system will perfectly be one of the weapons we have to make it a smooth transition into this AI era.
Yeah, and I appreciate that as like this is a shepherding conversation about, and we'll go a little bit more into AI and how an integrated management system can support that in our second section. But I think this is a time of great change, and what we need right now is a firm place with which to stand and lever, and you can move the world. Well, the world of AI is very heavy, and so now more and more we need a firm place to stand upon which we can build. And I love the conversation around integrated management systems, and we're going to get a little bit more of that. We want to turn it around to our audience, ask a couple of questions before we go into our break. The first is, do you have an integrated management system within your organization? Do you know about it? And if you do, how functional is it? Is it providing the capabilities and value you need to understand what you're doing, what you need to do, where you're going, and where it's falling short? Why is that the case? Is it lack of information? Is it lack of communication? Is it lack of structure? We'll come back with the next section, telling you a little bit more about how it pertains to AI and some success factors to make your integrated management system really sing.
And welcome back. Hey, Vassiliki, very, very fascinating conversation because I was just thinking while you were talking about the cultural differences that we see between our places on earth that we live, and priorities that we obviously put in place. And I'm pretty sure a lot of our North American listeners will just say, what is she talking about? Give me the juicy stuff now. And obviously we want to go into the juicy stuff, in our second part. And the point that I want to talk about is what is the contribution of an integrated management system, which for some people might sound static and old fashioned and analytical and boring and all that type of stuff, to the new hot stuff. So we spoke briefly about AI in before the break, you know, and there's obviously people who believe that AI will take over the world. And I'm curious what your opinion on that topic is. So, how does an integrated management system fit with the new stuff?
So it's not fair actually to consider the integrated management system as a static repository of knowledge and another intranet that is combining different sources of information. It should be considered and treated in a more dynamic and responsible way by investing on reshaping it regularly so that it can actually facilitate the purpose of adopting such a system. It is the purpose of clearing out the way of working, communicating new collaboration opportunities for your employees, and managing and organizing the change you want to happen in your organization so that you can work faster with lower cost more satisfied customers and employees, and even partners that you are getting some resources. So it is all about utilizing this kind of system for reshaping how people are collaborating. And now that we have the AI adoption challenge, we also have to reshape the way that people will work with the machines. We have to specify the new ways of working so that we can make the most out of these new technologies and also use them in a regulated way in order to avoid getting out of the risk appetite we have structured for our organization.
Let's talk about the first of those bullets that you had, because that's obviously one of the things that at least I'm very interested in when you say process reinvention. You know, we had a guest a couple of episodes ago who said, well, if you throw AI at an unknown problem, it's like pouring gasoline over a fire. And I think there's so much philosophical meaning behind that sentence. You know, I just said do dumb stuff faster. But I think it's you need to, and I think this is where the IMS, the integrated management system, comes in. You need to truly understand what you do before you do a change, right? Let me repeat this. You need to understand what you do before you introduce a change. And I'm not talking AI, I'm talking about any change that you have, right? So let's talk a little bit about what does that mean for process professionals? What does that mean for process as a discipline? How do you see uh, this topic becoming more prominent in the future? Or does it become more prominent? Question mark.
It's a challenge, and we have to react because it is a new reality, and we have to reinvent the processes. We have to identify the new ways of working, and not only for isolated use cases that AI can actually help us. We have to think in a more holistic way. And unless you have an IMS, an integrated management system in place, this is going to be really hard. It's not a matter of concentrating on how to optimize your sales processes. You have to take in mind all the side effects and all the changes that these optimization scenarios that you have in mind are getting for other process areas in your organization, and how the AI agents or the AI technologies or the data you need in order to make a more orchestrated and holistic solution work for you. So AI is a new challenge for reinventing your processes, and your integrated management system is an enabler in this transformation, which is happening because of technology. You have to bridge all the management excellence practices. You have to take into consideration your governance, risk, and compliance frameworks, and set up a number of new actions, new controls into your processes, and redefine accountability of your employees, train them in the new way of working, and also set up a number of new KPIs that will take data out of the performance of your human employees and your AI employees and correlate them to give you the solid picture of how this transformation is working for you.
I'm hearing a lot of things put together all at once, which I think is kind of shows the complexity and the interrelation of things. The first I'm hearing, if I'm correct, is context. A lot of when you look at AI, a lot is important to understand from a context perspective. What are you affecting? Who are you affecting? What systems, what processes are you touching? And the second is governance. How do you control and manage the execution of things? The third is people. Who is involved in this? Both AI and human employees, how are they being trained and enabled? How are they receiving feedback in order to improve? And so tell me a little bit more about the information contained within the integrated management system that would inform those things, the practices that you use within an integrated management system that will operationalize what we're talking about. Like, how does this practically work when we set up an integrated management system for the purpose of supporting an AI enabled business?
Of course, we have to document the processes and document them in multiple formats, even go for videos that shortly demonstrate the new ways of working, which is more current for your employees, which are getting digital savvy, and you have to adapt to their pace. We also have to incorporate a number of SOPs and a lot of practical examples documented of how you're going to control this new situation where human and AI agents work together by defining the roles, the responsibilities, and what are the feedback points, just like you said it, that should be fed with data that is going to be analyzed in a more holistic way, end to end. That would be the ideal approach. So as to get the ability to see how the systems and all these employees work together versus the target you have actually set at the beginning of this transformation.
I think that when we talk a little bit about this, the sort of function of this and the things you have to build, this sounds like you already have a lot of this information within your organization, but the structuring of it, the accessibility of that information, it feels like a big challenge. Tell me a little bit about stories where people are providing information, data to you that populates an integrated management system, but that you need to massage that information out of them. Either they don't understand what you need to get from them, or that information's in different formats. How do you harmonize around something that, as a standard central space, is actually useful for all these use cases that are coming through?
Actually, you gave me such a good chance to refer to one of our cases, a big telco in our country that used to be a pioneer in the process optimization practice and methodologies. And of course, they were using a number of tools to facilitate their effort. So they ended up with a lot of content that was in the format of process diagrams, written procedures, videos that explain some end-to-end processes in 2 or 3 minutes, just to give more attractive artifacts to the employee of the company. And all this they were published and shared in the intranet of the company via a dedicated portal, which was actually customized to facilitate role-based access and provide the proper information to a number of profiles they have identified as the most common visitors of this portal. The good thing is that this customer was actually measuring the outcome of their effort and their investment. And unfortunately, it was not working as they were hoping. So when the new AI team in their IT department offered to help them out, they were clever enough to make a new portal that was actually utilizing all these AI technologies and all the content that they had developed all these years. So right now, they have one single point of reference where you get there and you ask your questions, and this AI mechanism respond in a very personalized way, giving you access to multiple sources of information. So that was an innovative situation because they were clever enough to utilize AI for serving in a different way the content they used to give to people.
And I think this is the key feature, the crucial success factor, because what I've seen in the past working for vendors who said, "Oh yeah, we're going to provide an integrated management system, whatever." What they actually meant is we provide a tool for you where you can document your stuff. That does not mean that people are actually using it, right? So I think you need to take, and this is Roland's wish list, you need to take the next step. Yes, you need to do that understanding and create those artifacts that you mentioned, right? But if you don't bring them into the day-to-day work, into the day-to-day process that they do, then it's useless because then it's seen as training material, as CYA, as whatever, right? So we've seen that in the past with quality management systems, who were a big documentation effort. I remember a first step into the right direction, I think, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when you had the tight integration of one of the BPM tools with SAP. You pressed F1 and you didn't get the SAP help, but you saw a process diagram, and you were thinking like, oh, here I am, and that's the next step that I have to do. So I think you need to bring it in, and this is what I see where our discipline fails, to a degree, which is live in our little bubble, and we're documenting and mine and whatever, analyze stuff. But the question is, how relevant is it for the people? So I think you need to get it, you bring it into their day-to-day life, and make sure that the IMS is not a layer above, but it's integrated into the fabric of what people do, right? And then on the other side, and this is why I loved when you said that in the first part of the show, that you need your enterprise architects, right? You need to identify, how do you get current information into this, because it's great that you have a process diagram or whatever, any art, any other form of semi-static artifact. If you can't put the metrics behind it, why should I even look at it? So I think
Yeah.
there's a challenge, a human challenge to be managed, right?
And to just
And
interject a bit here, Roland, that's why one of my KPIs that I put on a lot of these integrated management systems is subscribership. Like, I wanna know that you've liked, shared, followed, just like you would any sort of media content, an artifact in an integrated management
good,
system.
good JM, good. But where's, for example, when you drive and you have your Google Maps open, you have that little button where you can report a traffic jam or an
Right, yeah.
accident or whatnot.
Engagement, yes.
Where is that in our business systems today? I haven't seen that. Have you?
I've seen things like it, but you're right. They're having it more clear to your end user community, that and not just users, like the business community that is integrating their knowledge into this integrated management system, that they have the power, they are empowered to provide feedback, and that their feedback is valuable, will be reflected, and that they have an easy sort of method of providing that feedback that conforms with their understanding of the ways of working. That's
Or they
super
drive.
relevant.
Or they drive. Get
Or
the
they drive.
ownership there, because it's not, and this is what I've seen in many scenarios. It's seen as an additional chore. Nobody wants to do
Mm,
additional work. Oh, JM, why should I document this for you?
yeah.
Oh, Vassiliki, why should I be in your workshop? I have work to do.
But that's cultural change, though. And
Yeah, of
Vasiliki, I
course.
know I know you have a lot of experience with cultural change. Like, what do you see as levers that you can use to incite the right types of behaviors, the right types of human systems that underpin this? And where do you see sort of walls you have to break through to achieve those goals?
It's the most challenging part actually to manage the cultural shift because people are always reacting to change. So imagine that degree of reaction now that we have these AI agents that can take decisions and they can actually route tasks to different systems. So it is going to be one of the most challenging tasks to manage to get the employees trusting your their AI co-workers and also trusting the procedure that is meant for their performance. So we have to uh, activate a lot of organizational change practices and try them to get mirrored in the everyday life of your employees. It is a matter of organizing some groups of change agents that are going to work with the employees of different departments, give them the clear idea. It is not always a matter of the system or the artifacts. It is also how much you invest on the human capital and how you treat them and how you train them to get ready for the change, not to get afraid of it. to make them feel safe, that you have all the guardrails there and you have all the uh, let's say, worst case scenario steps ready to be activated if the procedure gets out of trail. So, in order to avoid the operational chaos that may come up when you blend AI and other technologies with the traditional way of working, you have to make some extra steps, of course, towards the dimension of human nature and how this can be easily rooted in the new ways of working. Governance and data quality is of great importance. So you have to work on this again in a holistic way. You cannot set up controls for only a few steps in the procedure. You have to see it end to end because the threat might be from another source that is coming from outside, and it's not actually focusing on a single step, is focusing on the whole end to end and can cause you a lot of damage that is more important rather than focusing in small steps. So you have to adapt the job descriptions, train them in a human way. Okay, give them some simulation rooms so that they can actually work a bit on the safe side in the new way of cooperating, and try to adapt continuously these development plans you have, and keep them feeling part of the system. Okay, system is not always technology. As I said, it is not fair to treat it like a technology. It's an ecosystem that is actually asking for combining rigorous management practices with human side and human, let's say, tricks to get the work done in the preferred way.
Well, Vassiliki, this is great. Um, Obviously, we spoke about the three things, processes, and if there should be some kind of reinvention of the process discipline, which I think the three of us at least, all agree on. You need to understand what you do before you do something new. The second thing is obviously the human aspect. What's the impact on the people? How do we integrate them? How do we bring them in and make them drive the car? And then we spoke in a little bit earlier about risks and how do we make sure that we're staying compliant and don't uh, drive the ship into the wall, right? But I would love to switch topics a little bit, and pick your brain on your experiences on um, companies that you've worked with that have successfully implemented an integrated management system. Can you enlighten us a little bit about what are the key aspects that you would recommend um, the listeners of this podcast and companies in general to look at to have a successful implementation?
Actually, I was lucky enough to get involved in the adoption of such a system in one of our banks that initially launched an initiative to make a digital repository of knowledge for processes, organizational structure, job descriptions. Risks were also in the picture. And eventually, they decided that they would treat the data dimension with a more practical way. So this is a very good example, to my opinion, in order to get to realize that an integrated management system is there to support multiple use cases, and not only the digital repository part, also getting more practical, because at that case, they managed to get their employees having to access their portal because it was actually materialized with a portal that was serving all this information to the employee base. They managed to get their portal as the single point for anyone that wanted to use any of these official documents of the company, which was a practical use case because they gave operational value to the rest of the organization. And trust me, it was not actually received like another dumb process. It became their everyday tool. And not only do they access it to get the form number 2211, they also get it to see what steps were executed before this step that they need to fill in the form, or they also get to see how many signatures they need in order to get the whole procedure completed. And they also get it to explain to the customer what is going to happen if he's not paying the installment on time. So it became from a dumb knowledge database into a tool that is providing added value to their everyday life. And also, it satisfies a large number of stakeholders in the company, because all the ISO documentation is based on this system. All the risk and compliance tasks are getting source information from this system. And right now, they are implementing some process mining tools that will also give to top management and other stakeholders the performance view of this way of working. So more or less, that is a real example of approaching your organization like a system, a number of components that interact, and getting different views of all these interrelations in the context that is relevant for you.
I love it. And what's one of the things we want to talk to our audience about here? What have you seen that's helped you specifically achieve some of your goals? Some of those could be doing your job, communicating with customers, helping implement new AI tools. How have you built governance, risk, and compliance systems, feedback mechanisms, a town square of conversation around process and architecture within your organization? And if you don't have that, what sort of cost are you paying as a result of those missing pieces, leading to rogue and chaos AI taking over a lot of your automated processes without information, without communication, and ultimately without a collective motion towards value? I will leave you for a couple moments to consider what you could be doing better, and we'll come back with our final thoughts and conclusions for the episode.
And welcome back. Vassiliki, and think I said it at the beginning of our second part of the conversation. So let me just repeat it. Very fascinating conversation. Um, I loved hearing you talking about your experiences with customers who have implemented an IMS successfully, because to be quite honest, I haven't, and I do that for a while now. People just stop short of it. So always great. What I don't try is to summarize what we heard over the last hour-ish. So let's move on to the next thing, because I'm pretty sure other people are also interested in learning more about success factors, and they're convinced about the benefits and all that type of thing. So a question on everybody's mind is, well, how can they reach you?
That's easy. You can ping me at LinkedIn. I'm currently working for Accepted. We have a great team there, believing that process intelligence and best of breed tools can contribute in building successful integrated management systems. And we are here to help you not only to have a robust system, but also to cultivate flexibility, to evolve according to new technologies and new practices of working, and of course, uh, always taking care of the human side of your organization.
Yeah, and I definitely will put your LinkedIn information into the show notes. As I always like to say, don't take notes while driving, kids. So just read up the show notes afterwards.
And that's a good pitch for the show notes because those are all located at whatsyourbaseline.com. That's right, friends. It's been quite a ride today. Vassiliki, thank you so much for coming along on this fantastic journey together. But also thank you to our audience for sticking around to the end of the episode to hear a little bit more about our guest and where you might be able to find her. Now, if you want to find more information besides whatsyourbaseline.com, please head to LinkedIn, to our What's Your Baseline LinkedIn. We'd love it if you were to like, if you were to share it with your friends, if you were to comment on this video. Let us know the kinds of things you'd like to see in the future. We love taking feedback from our audience because it's a great way to drive forward the right kind of content for what you want. But until then, friends, I've been J.M. Erlinson.
Vassiliki Spentzou.
And my name is Roland Vogt.
And we will see you in the next one.